Step-parents getting involved with real parents and their child. Well, not even step-parents, but you know, you get the point, right? People involving themselves in stuff that they do not have to be involved in. Like this here today. Am I the a-hole for getting upset that my ex's girlfriend tried to have a woman-to-woman convo with my 7-year-old? 7 years old. How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm kidding, it's not 2016, we are acting normal here, because this is actually a serious situation. I did read ahead, okay, to kind of figure out if this is gonna be a good video, because I feel like I'm obliged to do that. We're gonna talk about this, and we're gonna also talk about it some more, because that's what I do in these videos, believe it or not. Throwaway account just in case this gets out of hand. My CSF27F X29M and I share a 7-year-old daughter. Recently, she was on FaceTime with him and I advised her to go get in the bathtub because it was almost bedtime. My son was crying because he was hungry, so I went into the nursery to breastfeed him and get him ready for bed too. This was where the issue starts. While I was in the nursery, I heard my ex's girlfriend, not sure her exact age, early 20s though, start talking to my daughter and mentioned that she wanted to have a girl-to-girl conversation with her. At this point, I started actively listening, which I totally get. I am gonna get to this properly soon, but I hate the way some people get into a relationship with someone that already has children and then feel kind of obliged or like they need to get involved with the kid. Like, yeah, of course you should be nice to the kid and try to set a good example, but you can never overstep that you are some sort of parental figure when you're just not. No matter how long you know the kid. Except if it's of course from so young that they don't remember. But still then, you can't force them to call you mom or dad. That's not how it works. I see this a lot on these types of subreddits where people try and force that, and that really annoys me. She began telling my daughter that she's becoming a woman now and they don't want to see her naked body. She also stated that neither I nor my husband need to see it either, and that since she's getting older she doesn't need to be FaceTiming them when she's about to get the bath. Then she asked my daughter if she understood why, and my daughter said no. Your plan didn't work. I feel that it's kind of deliberate undermining, but I don't know. At this point, I left the nursery and stopped the conversation. I told my daughter to get in the tub and that I was going to talk to my ex's girlfriend, let's call her Emma. I always think with these types of things, what if they just said her actual name? They just pretend like, oh, it's not a real name, but her name is actually Emma. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I just feel like sometimes it's probably her actual name. She just says that it's not her actual name. I told Emma that I could have that conversation with my daughter and it wasn't appropriate for her to have it. I even told her that she's not my daughter's mother and she never will be, which makes those conversations not appropriate for her to have. She then began scolding me, stating that as her mother, I should be telling her that it's not okay to talk to them when she's getting ready to bathe. And she emphasized that she was becoming a woman and this was a huge issue. I didn't see the problem since they've put her in the tub before and had conversations with her while she was in the tub. I told her that, but she still found it inappropriate. I emphasized that she's 7 years old, not 10, not 13, 7. And I felt like that if it was that big of an issue, then they should have just said goodbye before she got ready to get in the tub, since they heard me tell her to get in. Her father chimed in and said he gave Emma permission to have these conversations with her daughter. Emma also began stating that she's known my daughter for years and is a mother figure to her. Therefore, it was appropriate and okay for her to have this. And now we are getting properly into the you are not the mum. The mum, bruv, you are not. Yes, you've known her for years. Great. Has she ever called you mom? Has she told you that she feels like your mom without you telling her to say that? She's 7! You thick. I'm not going to say the words because YouTube don't like it. And also Jesus, very important that he doesn't like, so I'm not saying it. Where do you get the ego? Like the sheer ego that you can somehow have authority in this matter. Also, the father chimed in and said he gave Emma permission to have these conversations. Really? You did that solo without discussing it with the mother of that child first, right? You decided that just wasn't needed. I am so thankful. Thank you, Mom. dad also, but mostly mom, that when you got into a relationship, you didn't force it at all. My mom got a new boyfriend at first, pretty fast, and then they became married, and it wasn't so smooth. So then, once he started living there, I was already gone. That's a whole separate issue, but I was already gone. And now, right, I always had great respect for my stepdad, but now even more so, and we're very cool, like, no problems at all in the relationship. But it started off rocky. I can imagine if my mom just took him into the house and he started, saying stuff and doing stuff, even though he was very respectful, actually, and he didn't try to force authority at all, because he's just a good man. But, like, I can imagine if my mom just brought him into the house and he started doing that stuff, then we would have probably never had a relationship. But because my mom took it so slow and really valued our opinion, right, now it's all worked out. You see how that goes? That if you treat your child like a human being with its own thoughts and feelings and emotions, right, and opinions, that then you actually, in the end, get a better relationship with them because you treated them like a human with thoughts and feelings and emotions. My dad just had the policy, as long as my children live in the home, no other woman is coming in. But also, he really enjoys the single life, so I'm not worried at all. But, like, that's... My mom had such a good strategy about it, and it was quite rocky. So while we were in it, it doesn't seem like it was a good strategy. But now, I really like the guy, and I have a great relationship with my mom. And, so it all worked out. I am glad that my mom married him, and I feel like he's a very good man. I don't think your daughter, Mr. Sir, now boyfriend of Emma, father of the daughter, you're walking on thin ice. You are making it tough for your daughter to, first of all, like Emma, because Emma is trying to force authority when she doesn't have any. Especially me as a kid, but I can imagine a lot of kids as well really, really hate that. I remember there was some woman, I was like 19 at this point, and me and my sister were just kind of like, we were just having fun with brothers and sisters like they do. I was like poking her after she started poking me, and this woman did this in my face to try and get me to stop. And I was so perplexed that I didn't say anything, but that pissed me off so bad. Like, you don't force authority, you don't have none, right? I hate that. Also, this girl-on-girl conversation, she's becoming a woman. She's 7 years old. She's a small child. Once they start becoming teens, right, I get it. You want to give them more privacy, and you want to have them start, right, like, respecting their own privacy, finding that important. But when they're 7, like, they are not quite functioning yet as much as a teen, even though a teen is not that functioning either. But more than a 7-year-old, it's probably good for mom and dad to be at least close by for if something goes wrong or if they need help, right? You don't know. You don't have kids yourself, Emma, so who are you to speak? Sorry, calm down. I want to make it very clear that I've had conversations with my daughter about her private parts and who is and is not allowed to see them. So it's fixed, right? I didn't mention that, but that is important to talk about with your kids from early on. She knows that strangers or people who are not her immediate family, her father, Emma, my husband, and I, are not allowed to see her naked. And I don't find it uncomfortable to see my own daughter naked. I also find it very strange that they find it uncomfortable, and I feel like they're specializing my 7-year-old. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, that's kind of strange indeed. Like, yo, that child came out of that woman, right? Like, you can't hold that above their heads all the time, right? Because that's just a very weak argument. Because I didn't ask you to do that. You did that on your own volition. Yeah, like, you wanted to do that, not me. But I'm grateful you did. Okay, don't get me wrong. But it's not weird for a mom to see her own child naked. It came out of her body. Okay, we got some context because honestly, I thought they were at Emma's place and her and the father's place, but they weren't. My daughter was at home when this occurred and they were on FaceTime. She lives with my husband and I and just visit Emma and him. I agree that she doesn't need to be on FaceTime naked. I disagree with how it was handled. Emma should have asked her to turn the camera off or just hung up the phone. It's confusing to try to have the "you're becoming a woman" conversation with a 7-year-old who is nowhere near puberty or becoming a woman. And the person trying to have that conversation is not her mother. Even though, like, that would be fine if the mother wasn't in the picture, but the mother is in the same house, okay? Right? And would be in the same room, but she needed to breastfeed her other child, right? So, like, who are you, Emma? Who are you to say or do these things? What gives you the right? I don't know why I'm so passionate about this. I guess it's because it went so well with us. I know how easy it is to just not have these problems. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy, but it was going to be harder if people started doing this type of stuff. How, as a father, as a man, right? You are a father. You father your child, and you give your early 20s girlfriend, right? That's a few years from how old I am, right? I'm 20 years old. I'm from 2005. Like, let's say she's from like 2002. That's actually crazy. Because if everything goes the way I want it to, I'm gonna have kids in a few years. I want to be early to the party, right? I want to see my kids grow old and have their own lives nice and long. So I want to start early. Like, it's not easy having kids, man. You gotta do a lot of stuff before that, like personal development, which a lot of people don't do. But if you're gonna have kids, try and get a lot of personal development in, right? So you are the best you can be for your child. Because a lot of people say that they would die for their kids, which is very nice, and I believe that. But you can also, while living, do a whole lot for your kids within yourself, right? Because physically, and you give stuff to your kids, but like who you are is also very important, because kids do what you do and don't do what you say. That's what I'm trying to say. I cannot imagine being a step-parent and overstepping like this. I don't understand how you do it. How do you... Because it requires a certain amount of ego. And I'm not saying that I don't have an ego. I have a very big ego. But how do you justify that in your own mind? I don't get it. But I'm gonna end this video here, because I could be endlessly ranting for the rest of my life. Right? And the rest of your life as well. Because I'm living longer than you. Sorry, I don't know what that means. Leave a like, subscribe, comment something on the video. Yeah, that was it. Jesus Christ Lord. And let's get out of here.